Hi.
We're playing D&D today. We're going to be continuing the story of the Dawnforged company. Last time.
Did you not
Before
finish
I did
eating before you started?
Timer's a timer, man.
Fucking bite right now? Oh my god.
Timer's a timer.
What an
Timer's a timer.
animal.
My cat was eating my food. I had to stop her. She's ruined all my plans. Alright, so we're playing D&D today.
Always
We're
blame
going
it on the pussy.
I mean, yeah. So we are playing some D&D tonight. Going to be doing the continuing adventure of the Dawnforged company, and they have made their way last session all the way to the Sealy Court, and upon entrance and flying around with unicorns and a breeze bringing them to the court, they have interrupted the opening ceremonies as they have kind of barged in and declared themselves entering this contest between the Sealy and the Unsealy courts, and they have entered under the name of the Fool's Court, led by her Sam, the Fey Prince. Now, all right. So,
You should. Then you start.
I'm just waiting for it. It's gonna happen. So, all right. So, upon entering, you all heard a voice. Once again, we find ourselves meeting Sealy and Unsealy, light and darkness, warmth and cold, two sisters who could not be more different. Does this not mean we can't have a little fun, a friendly competition? Tonight, we will break bread and feast together, and tomorrow we'll announce the first event! And then as that ends, that's when you guys have entered in. So there were some barbs thrown back and forth between this tiny green man and her Sam. Mainly about who follows fools and who's the fool, and just a bunch about fools. It was silly. Yeah. All right.
That's foolish.
There are no kings or fools for. It was something like that. It was basically that.
Did they at least come to the conclusion that they pity the fool?
They don't. They have no sympathy for the fool.
Aww.
I ain't getting on no plane, sucker.
No jibber jabber milk. Dang it. All right. So at this point, you know, you guys have entered the whole court has kind of stopped for a second, and everybody's looking your ways. Can I get a perception check from everybody?
I can do that. I can do that twice.
Yo,
Do it.
just go to sleep on me.
Boop.
Bada bing! Perceptive as ever.
Yeah. What?
Is there no music right now? Or is that just my browser being
it's-
It's very
background
light.
music. And we go ahead and add some.
Too.
Let's pop it up a little bit.
Ah, there it is. There you go.
There we are.
Nope, now it's gone. That's weird.
That
Browser's
is
being
weird.
dumb.
Okay.
I'll fix it on my end.
Okay. So as you guys
Are you gonna throw up? Jeez.
doing my best.
What's happening?
It's gonna be a
Doing my
weird
best
night.
here.
I get a feeling it's gonna be a weird night.
Oh, I
sorry,
guarantee
dude.
that.
You can't just...
Just coughed. What happened?
You alright? It sounds like you're gonna puke!
Better drink some more.
Force it down.
All right.
Ramrod.
Car ramrod? No. Oh god damn it! It's gonna be a terrible night. All right, we're gonna make it through though. All right, so
You did
Um,
that.
Please
upon-
start yet.
What made you do that?
so Zephyr, Tazir, and Uza, as you guys are looking, you do see that there's clearly beings here that are much more powerful than others. Like all of you see this ent who's like mostly tree, who's planted onside this floating crystal, and is kind of is super large on one side of the room. On the other side, you see that there is all of you recognize this unicorn, but if you got a 20 or above, you recognize that the flames coming out of the eyes are building like this kind of rainbow halo, and it is emanating just this energy of it's as if somebody was running free at full speed, that joy you get during a race, but it like kind of radiates out from it. And then 20 or above, you also notice that there's this individual right here, is the only person who smiled when her Sam came through the door with all of you.
Which one?
This one, the one up at the top here, kind
Gotcha.
of
Okay.
not the very top, right here, and then the small gnome, the small not a gnome, the small green man, in the middle of the room. It's one of your above. Actually, you wouldn't know this. You wouldn't. Oh man, none of you would know. Never mind. You're all very.
Where are we? Are we this far away from him?
Yes, you guys have just entered. We'll say you guys walked up a little bit, so I'll kind of move you up.
Look, we're a football field away still.
Yeah, this is just the map isn't to scale. It's just I couldn't fit a lot of people on the
Gotcha.
stairs, and it was just kind of give it a grandiose feel as well.
Gotcha.
Because like if you look, that means her chair is 20 feet tall and wide, and so it's just this is more for atmosphere than anything. Since
It's like
not gonna
a
be bad
toddler
night.
on it.
Yeah, just little feet kicking out of the. Oh, it's gonna be a bad night. Fuck us all up. Okay, it's gonna be good. It's gonna be good. All right. And then
We love you.
Tazir, can you do a history check for me? I think you're the only one who has the possibility of knowing.
Oh, woo!
Oh yeah, I know you love history checks.
Oh, are you joking?
Mm-mm. Do it.
Okay. Okay.
I have a +2 to history.
I was like, I gotta.
what an-
Okay,
no.
Vicer.
I was like, I got +0 on history.
Wait, actually, Vicer, go ahead and make a perception. Okay, cool. Cool. All right, no worries.
Look, I didn't study the Feywild at school. I grew
That's
up in
okay.
a small town. What the fuck do I know?
It's not a big thing anyway. You as players know that it's a fucking leprechaun. Like, like it's clearly a leprechaun. I mean, you guys can see that. So,
No.
That's
What?
bullshit.
No.
Sounds aren't real.
It's true.
all right,
Everything
so,
else in the game, though, is.
The thing I know
Yes,
about leprechauns
absolutely.
is they're assholes in horror movies.
Oh my god! All right. Oh god, damn it.
It's eating
Very
her.
That looks the
shitty
same,
horror
too.
movies.
Now it's gonna eat me.
Oh, those
Hello,
Those are-
Irene.
technically goblins.
All right, that's true.
my
All
God.
right, so
Nilbog is goblin backward.
That's right. If he's a leprechaun, he should be into hood.
oh
We're in
god,
Whoa.
space. Leprechaun in space.
leprechaun.
You never knew
Space.
Leprechaun 3 into hood? That's a real movie. You guys know
There was
that,
a
right?
movie. There was a real leprechaun movie where they were in space.
All right, let's
Was
reel
it
it
3 or
back.
was it 2?
Oh yeah, like that matters.
Just want to point out that I recently recommended our stream to another D&D person who was looking for a even
Leprechaun
toned
movie?
serious game.
Recommend-
Okay. All right.
Wow, what a fuck up!
So if
I
you're
told
out
you.
there, I
It's-
apologize.
It's the GIF, right? The maudlin and comedy GIF. That's our game.
Okay. So let's go and reel it back. I can do this.
Really?
All right.
If you insist.
What?
Totally.
So timing is timing today. It's just all right. So as you guys kind of walk in through, and Bloodscale, you'd recognize all of the knights except for you know that the Flame Knight is different. It's a completely different outfit. Although expecting to see a different Twister Knight, the Twister Knight looks exactly the same, almost eerily so, with you knowing what happened. You recognize the dome of Odrith. Lifespring on top of it is sitting in his normal disguise as the Undead Prince. You notice the Forest Knight is a little more slight of a frame, but the armor looks like it doesn't look quite the same. Where the other one had this lived-in feel, where it had like some moss and stuff growing even on the armor itself. This one is just a clean, polished emerald armor, where it looks not only brand new, but like it will forever be brand new. As almost like a stark contrast that to the other Forest Knight who felt as part of this wilderness. It feels almost like it was extracted and separated from it. And as you guys all enter, so the small person in the middle that's in, he's like, well, all right then. Well, if is this going to be allowed? And then you see the smiling girl kind of look up back to the throne where you recognize the figures of Tatiana, and God damn it, I'm dying today, and Oberon. And as she sits, you see Tatiana, for just the barest hint of a, you're not even sure if you saw it, but like the just the twitch of a lip might indicate a smile, and she turns to Oberon, and you see Oberon kind of turn towards her, and it's really hard to read his face when he turns, because he's turning away from you all, but then she kind of just gives a small nod, and she turns, and he's like, "It would be allowed by the Seelie. How does the Unseelie feel?" And at this point, the Queen of Darkness and Air is she looks really pissed off for a second, and then all of a sudden she turns around and looks at all of you, and then she locks eyes with Bloodscale and smiles. "This would be perfect. I have no objections to this." And then with that, the small guy in the middle is like, "Very well, as royal caller, I, Squeliac, will call for dinner." And he pulls out this tiny bell, and as he rings it, the entire throne room around you shifts. The statues and rugs seem to pull themselves up. You almost have to like kind of walk in place as the rug behind you rolls itself up into a giant ball, and the statues like animate as the riders fall forward, and they lope out each side to the east and west. If you're looking up at the queen, to the left and right, as they kind of lope out of the room, and then the tiles themselves, instead of changing, there's few that rise up and form tables, and you see all these servants coming out of there's many Eldrin, most of them of the summer variety, but you recognize some spring with the green in their hair, and even some with a few clovers. You see autumn ones kind of smiling and moving a little slower, but also, seem to having a better time than the others, with just like a few trails of leaves behind them that disappear before they even hit the ground. The fewer are the winter elves, but there are still a few of them who look a lot more serious about things. They're moving much more calculated than others, and they're almost all a little bit grim as they go. And there's some that walk and they tap the center of a table, and the fault ones, when they tap it creates this, you see leaves kind of sprout out from the middle of it as it creates this tablecloth made completely out of interwoven autumn leaves. When the spring ones tap it, it's this wild rush of grass that populates the table with wildflowers around the edge. As the winter Eldrin tap, it just seems like this spiral of ice starts out from the center as it spins around the table and forms almost a giant snowflake on top of the table made entirely of ice. And then the summer, as they tap it, it starts from the center as a bloom of a flower, and as it opens, it drops around to the full length of the table, these circular tables that have come up, and smaller flowers kind of bud up, creating a very flat surface but made of like hundreds of flowers. They come in all different sorts of colors. There's pink, orange, yellow, red, purple, all sorts of these beautiful flowers. And as you see at that point, the court is called, and you see many that were even rushing around and everything start to take seats. As you see a vast amount, the seats, there's 300 seated as this all starts, and then you look towards the Queen's throne, and the throne itself has sunk slightly into the floor, the pedestal that it was on coming flush and level, the stairs leading up to her risen position fold to the floor, seemingly absorbed into the floor itself. And in front of her, she just makes a small gesture as her footstool raises up, grows, and becomes a table. This one also with flowers, but these flowers are this gorgeous purple and white put together, like it's a purple with white star pattern over the top of it. And these ones seem to glow and sparkle a bit with this, but it's not a silver glow. It's this warm golden glow behind it, as if you're looking at flowers and if they're perfectly lit, as if almost nearing a sunset. Like the golden hour, if you're in film terms. As she sits, she barely moves as all of this happens. As Oberon, he also gestures, and you see underneath him grows this darkwood rooted chair that grows seemingly out of nowhere, giving him a full back chair as he sits up next to her. everybody goes to take their places at the table. Seated opposite of Oberon and to the left of the queen is the Unseelie Queen of Air and Darkness. You see, beyond that, it is separated into larger chairs. You see, next to Oberon sits the smiling girl. Her Sam goes and he leads you up as he takes his place next to the Queen of Darkness and Air. Next, on the on Oberon's side, the large tree entity, the unicorn on the right. I'm organizing these so you can kind of see where everything's going. Hopefully you can get a good look at it. And then finally the leprechaun seats. And then as her Sam kind of nods to you, he gestures. There's a table that comes in kind of like a T formation at the end now. And so you see others go to take their place, and they all seem to organize themselves, and you're not exactly sure how. Let's see. Can I get an intelligence check from Bloodscale, since you'd be the only one who could recognize what's going on here?
I would change my eyes to green for this.
Perfect. Change your eyes to green, and then you know
That
what?
might know the fail.
Ooh, with the green's knowledge here, do you tap your bracer as well?
Uh-huh.
Okay, so if you go full green, go ahead and make your perception check, but it has affected the DC of the check, or your intelligence check.
Gonna be poor. Gonna be poor.
12. That's perfect. So with that, you recognize that they seem to be seating according to rank. Whoever's in charge is in the middle, and then trusted to their right. Next, trusted to the left, and then and so on and so forth as you see they kind of take up. So you get the idea that the leaders are going to be this Odra Lifespring, the Undying Prince, and on the other side is a half-elf man with this beautiful flaxen hair and an owl on his shoulder. He seems, judging by looking at him, you're like, he could be some sort of magic, and you almost hear a whisper of wizard from the back of your mind, from the green. And then you see to the right is a centaur who is also wearing just light to no armor. And you're like, and as you're trying to figure out, you just hear druid. And then to the right, a massive Minotaur who you don't have to take a second look at. You're like, that's a fighter or a barbarian, like you're guaranteed. And then you see a Triton beyond that, who is wielding just like this long spear and seems to be in full plate armor. And then a hooded figure with whose mask remains in place even as he's eating. And dogs barking at the outside of the tent for some reason. And then on the other side, you take a second and you notice that the new closest second in command is the new green, but you recognize the Squall Knight has moved up to third as far as trust goes. The new Twister and new Flame Knight seeming to be the lowest of the pecking order. How would you guys like to seat yourselves?
Maybe you're muted.
I have to organize this.
You guys can just sit down, or
Where's Hearsam? Like,
Hearsam
we're at the kids' table, right?
Yeah, we're at the kids' table.
basically, yeah. So there's supposed to be, and then you see as you guys approach this table that was supposed to tee off of the main table grows out another extension to become like a T itself, to make places for all of you to sit. As
So
you can
where's
tell, it wasn't
the end of that?
originally part of the plans.
The end of the T right here? Where's
Approximately, just it's going to be like wherever you guys want to sit yourselves. As far as
Alright.
all,
But I'm
I
gonna
just need to
put
know-
Visera right in the.
So,
So
on,
Vice
There, this
on
is
the,
your show,
the
man.
end of the T?
perfect. And then who to the right?
Right was a wizard, correct?
So the wizard was the one on the left, and you know that both of them seated and in charge are wizards.
Charge of wizard, so sorcerer in charge. That's fine enough.
Oh god, I'm not in charge then.
The first in command were the forest knight.
So, and the Minotaur...
God, it would help if my brain didn't suck today.
So next.
On
Yeah.
the right hand is your first hand man. On the left hand is your second hand man, and then
Sorry, no, I think it's the fighter goes on the right hand side and the druid goes on the left hand side, according to, because this is a druid, right?
Yeah.
Fuck.
And then this is a druid. So that
I'm waiting for
means-
DM answers.
What did you say?
in their first up,
Yeah.
in the second position. It's the Forest Knight and what, the Druid on the other side?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the Forest Knight and the Centaur. Druid.
I will suggest that Zephyr.
Totally.
Perfect. And then next is the big brawny.
I'm the big brawny here.
Perfect.
I'm still directing traffic.
Sure. And then you
You
got
gotta
the,
kind of look at Bloodscale and point at the chair that I'm standing next to, like this. I'm looking over at the cloaky guy in black.
No, I point,
Here?
because the cloaky guys technically would be in the chair that would be in front of Zephyr, if I'm mirroring this correctly.
Alright. And then that leaves here. And then the other two. So, that how you guys want to sit?
Sounds about right.
Sure.
Alright. So.
Well, while Bloodscale's
have
like
no
helping
idea what's
people
going
like
on
figure
here.
out where they're sitting, he's like, I'm just matching you up with the rolls that they're showing. I don't know if this is going to affect anything. Just go with it.
Perfect.
For
And
sure.
then, so as you're organizing everybody, can I get you to make a perception check, Bloodscale?
Sure. That film. Wait, something.
Okay. So it's at that point you hear a small cough from her Sam, and you see that just in time, just barely in time, you see the napkin pulled out from the Titania, and as she goes to lay it over her lap, and you grab yours like quickly, and everybody else, can you make perception checks as well as he coughs?
We can't just be
God, he's
watching
got
her.
Corona.
It's because you guys are being
It's
organized.
because we're sitting still.
Okay.
We're in the active movement of sitting.
Right, but we've also been told to keep our eyes
Our
open
wits
for,
about us,
for
yeah.
things that happen around us, and everyone's about
Yeah.
to do this, right?
That much
Anyway,
is true. I did do that before we even got in
Yeah.
the building.
No, it's
So-
true. It's just to
It's-
see. Basically, it's because you guys were taking a little bit to organize yourselves. It's just the see if you got the cough in time. It's not a high DC, and it's a group check which you guys passed. So as he coughs, you kind of all like either get your napkin or bump somebody who didn't see it all in time. So all of you get your napkins down and place exactly in time, just like you were warned by Bloodscale to put it no farther than your knees, to do it and lay it flat, and to put then Bloodscale in the back of your mind, you remember one of the rules is if you eat a bite that you don't like, you're not allowed. The most polite thing to do is to spit it into your napkin and then fold it over in your lap, but you guys managed to get the napkins down in time. You see everybody else put their napkins down, and you see Odra Lifespring has left his napkin on the table, and now after everybody grabs theirs, he just slowly he grabs his, he flicks it over, and then he just puts it around his arm, ready to use. You hear a murmur from the whole entire hall as he does this. It's like, oh my gosh, can't do that with a
What are they saying? Oh, is that just saying?
Bloodscale's resisting the urge to smile, but he is actively going to accomplish this resist.
And then
Question for you, Ty. The Odra over there is, and I'm only asking this so if my player brain can connect to my character's brain.
Sure.
Does that dude look like the dude that tried to kidnap Visair and then Bloodscale therefore ate a piece of him?
No, he's wearing this
Okay.
obscuring dome, which he wasn't wearing when you guys last saw him. There's that.
Okay, so I've got no connection there.
No, it'd be it actually would be impossible because he's in an entirely new body.
Cool.
So, yeah,
Works
there'd
for
be,
me. I just wanna
Bloodscale
make sure.
explain that to a few people, though.
Bloodscale never actually gave away the secret.
I
He
didn't-
wanted to keep it himself and
Never-
expose it when it was
Never
fun.
said the name. Let me see. Let me
I
check my
did say
notes.
out loud that the Undying Prince would have returned by the time we got back. I said that out loud to her, Sam. So it might
Okay.
be possible.
You know what? Can I get just a general history check to see who would remember that? Just real quick. Because he hasn't been introduced as the Undying Prince, so we're not quite there yet, so we'll find out when we get there.
Hey.
Hey.
That's not bad.
There was at least mention of the Undying Prince
Yeah,
returning.
You
Beyond
mentioned
20 roll like garbage every time.
the orb and everything to somebody.
Yeah. So is it from my to Taz? Can I get your roll? Nice
Like,
butt
technically,
combo, that
Uza
was
would have
pretty
heard
good.
that I was.
History?
Uza would have heard that he was
No.
wearing an orb.
Okay.
It was pretty much the one I told the dream to.
Oh, I
That's
forgot
true.
that.
Apologize.
I
All
forgot
I
that. Okay,
still
so-
don't know shit
I just
about
never got a
I know he
name.
told
Okay.
somebody.
Well, it's
know
okay.
he
So,
said-
if you rolled a 10
description.
or above, you remember. So you'll remember that you're expecting that the Undying Prince here, and that he is obscured by a large bulb on his head. So
I'm gonna try not to stare at the thigh that I
Literally,
saw.
Bloodscale would have called it a fishbowl if I remember
fishbowl.
correctly.
Yep,
so-
yeah, fishbowl on his head, and then
Giant fucking fishbowl on his head. Oh, what the fuck is wrong with him? Maybe he was fuck ugly. Ow.
and then so at that point, servants start to bring food, and they all serve exclusively from the left side. Son of a bitch. And then as they start to serve food, you notice as they place plates, but there's no food on the plates. And then you see there's 3 different small illusions on the plate. And, there's one that's a delicious roast chicken that has it's clearly been stuffed with rosemary and thyme and is in this some sort of basil. And as you kind of lean in, you can smell the illusion. Next is this giant salad that is filled with to the top of all these different sorts of greens, and it looks super delicious. And you as you give it a smell, you're like, oh, is that a what's the pickle? It's almost like a dill sauce on top of that. That smells amazing. And then as you reach out, you to kind of touch one, you realize you can move it. And as you move it, other ones will take the place, and you realize you can choose what kind of dinner you'd like, and you can kind of almost swap them out to choose what's going to come before you. You see, the queen, though, as soon as her plate hits the table, there's this single apple that grows into the middle of the plate, and then she kind of taps it, and it falls open as she taps it, and then she just takes one small slice and starts to just. And as she's looking around, you see she's clearly waiting for everybody to choose their foods. You see everybody at the main table is almost instantly chosen, like theirs was already pre-specified. You notice that the other people at the same table as you, all of the knights have turned their plates over. And then as far as the others go, they are happily you see they're kind of looking back and forth like they weren't exactly sure what to expect, and so they all start kind of pointing and they're kind of whispering to themselves. And then what would you guys like to do?
Swap, 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 swap.
Who's out? Right, so the knights aren't eating, but it looks like that might be rude to do. But we could be there could be
Unseelie
some
that's
sort
not
of
eating correctly.
That's correct.
They got helmets on. Like, how are you gonna
Bloodscale
get
just-
food into a fishbowl?
Bloodscale does look to the left, look to the right to make sure everybody is kind of paying attention. Bloodscale, he picks the chicken,
Okay.
Alright,
Chicken.
So I guess
but just
chicken then?
nods to everybody effectively eat.
I just tap the chicken and start chowing down. 'cause
No,
Why not?
Bloodscale picked and then pulled back. Didn't start eating. He just picked.
Alright, so I picked 2.
Perfect. So
I picked
you all-
raw.
you all quickly find what you want to eat, except
Yeah.
for
Egg.
Uza, who's constantly swapping.
I just want to
Every-
see all the options real quick,
It seems
and then I'm
as you
gonna
keep
go back to
swapping,
whatever.
you've swapped about. You started getting quicker and quicker. So you're about 25 swaps, and you still haven't seen a duplicate dish.
Okay, I'm gonna just settle on the next thing that's beef, and then kind of sorry.
Perfect. And as you swap, the next thing that lands is like a beef shank that has been wrapped up, and there's something that's stuffed in the middle of it, and you can, as you lean in, it smells like butter and spices has been melted over the top of this thing. And there's a very little around it, just like there's some like a little bit of corn kind of down, and then like a little bit of mashed potatoes with this wonderful smelling gravy. And then so as you all
the ultimate.
You're making me hungry. I already ate dinner.
Right?
No, I've prepared the ultimate excuse for Uza already. It's
All right, perfect. And so as you guys look over there, you do see one of the Sealy side like tap and kind of wait, and he's looking around at everybody else. And then you see him look over at the queen, and he looks panicked, and he kind of starts talking to them really quickly.
Alright, so we're looking at the queen too?
So
Can we hear what they're saying, or
as you look at the queen, she's holding a piece of apple, clearly waiting.
okay?
Bloodscale is just sitting there
Just wait.
with his food
Yep.
in
Is
front of him.
there?
So
Can I see if there's anyone who hasn't?
Oh,
picked
I'm so
or
sorry.
flipped their
Have you
plate
guys?
over?
So you guys chose it, and so you guys made the selection, so the plate is filled.
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay, so as you guys quickly choose your meals, even Uza at this point, you see the Sealy are last, and as the last one, it's the Minotaur. He just keeps looking, and he's like, huh? As he looks up, you see the wizard next to him kind of whisper to him, and he's like, you see a panicked look as he kind of starts swiping madly, and he just slaps at something, and you see grass grow up from his plate, and he's like, fuck. As he's finally chosen, you see it's only at that point that the queen smiles and bites into her apple. At that point, everybody around you starts to eat it, dive into their food.
I
Is
am
there any way I can
carefully
try to?
Try to do what?
Sorry, I just wanted to try to lock eyes with the Minotaur as I took my first bite of the beef.
Sure. Oh yeah, easy enough, because he's kind of looking around like, you believe this shit? And as you lock as you lock eyes with him, he looks down, and then you kind of lock eyes. Do you raise one eyebrow? I assume, just like, look at this shit.
I just kind of give him that little bit of extra plumage, and I just get into it like a bird of prey.
As you dive in, he just like full bull snorts out, and then you see as you do, he leans over and he bites into the plate of grass and bites the whole thing off in one giant chomp. And as he's chewing at it, just staring you down back, make a charisma check for me.
Okay, I can do that. Good start, guys. Good start.
Not only am I keeping a close eye on the
That's
silverware,
not good.
I want to use that luck fan.
All right,
Ooh.
you bit shook. Like, you thought you were gonna have a meeting your ancestors, and he fucking no look chomped in, bit an entire plate of grass, and as he's chewing it and staring you down, it's growing back, and you get the idea. It did not have the effect
Does
you were
Bloodscale
thinking.
notice this one?
Yes. Yeah, it was not subtle. Neither one of them.
Because I put Bloodscale in the exact opposition of this man, table-wise.
Mm-hmm.
Bloodscale with the drummy. It's gonna look like a little bit over his shoulder. Lean back in.
Okay. For a second, the Minotaur locks eyes with you, and then as you lock, he just gives you a small nod, and then turns his eyes back to glaring at Uza
While he's doing the nod, just real quick, change the eyes to blue and then back to green.
And as he's chewing, he stops chewing for a second. He's like, and then ignores it, goes back to
blue, one blink back to green.
He just kind of blinks for a second, and your head goes back, and then he goes back to staring down Uza as he chews on his grass.
Did not go the way I wanted it to.
Oh, perfect. And so, as you all eat, you notice that all of the knights sitting there was no murmur as they turned over their plates. Somebody comes and they collect the plates, and they leave small glasses in front of each of them. And you notice that there are these very fine crystal drinkware, and they're kind of like these tall, thin glasses. As they're waiting, you see the Squall Knight. She reaches up, she picks up the glass, and she turns it over, and then turns it over again. And as she flips it right side up for the second time, it fills with a bubbling clear liquid of some sort. bubbling slightly golden, and not golden like the color, like it's starting to like literally glow gold from the inside. The other knights watch her do this, and they do the same. And you see Lifespring. He as he turns his over and it fills. He pulls it over to the floor and pours it out on the floor, and you hear just and then you see Oberon stand up at that point, and then she just gives him a hand, and he sits back down. And you see Lifespring reach into his robes, and he pulls out this aged bottle.
Any follower.
Oh, hey! Thanks, Urban Bad. Oh, you've been bad? Never mind, that makes more sense. Oh no, you've been nad. 420. Welcome, dude. I hope you have a wonderful time and you're enjoying this story so far.
Yeah.
Oh yeah! We all know Molly about you here.
Molly
'cause
stream.
she's the best. So he reaches in and he pulls this ancient bottle. It looks like it is just so old that the glass is almost like, it looks like it could just shatter for no reason. And as he reaches a finger, he just taps a long elongated fingernail into the top of it, twists it, and pulls the cork with just a small pop. And then he puts the glass back down and fills it with his own wine. And as the wine falls forward, it is this beautiful, it's like this Merlot that is a red, but it also has this like, it's almost its own glow to it that gives it almost a ruby-like look. And Bloodscale, you recognize this bottle as one of the bottles from the cellar from his home. This is a Lifespring wine he has brought specifically to dunk on the queen.
What kind of asshole brings his own wine?
And her Sam's looking at this too.
You're
right?
not the only person who's whispering that. Yeah, her Sam. You see her Sam
Right.
looking at it,
So-
and kind of. You see her Sam look
And
over, and he
there's-
looks at you, and kind of.
There's a slight nod at her Sam.
He nods back.
So, like, do they care about any of this? Like, I know we're supposed to be, like, on our best behavior, and that guy's over here bringing his own wine? Like,
They don't. They not. They
what?
Honey, we can
don't
barely.
agree with it. I'm fucking unmuted. You shut up. I'm
No,
trying
no,
to be
we can
quiet.
barely hear you. I know,
Oh.
but, like, I can't
Your
hear you.
voice.
Just
on the
imagine I'm
headset.
stage whispering then.
Yes.
Yeah.
Stage whisperer.
No, they don't. They don't give a single solitary fuck.
Alright, so why should we?
Because what they're
Uh,
doing in Alliance, we're still trying to win some favor, and obviously the Queen of Air and Darkness has a fucking some sort of inkling of me. So let's just try to be on our here and not make more enemies than we already have.
It's at that point, Ilofir is like, they do this because they are not part of the court. They have no interest in winning the court's favor. They are here to shame the court. That is what they do every year.
They're being dicks to be dicks.
Alright, so we just have to be better than them, right? Like, this shouldn't be hard.
To try
I
to
feel
be
like we
better
should just
than
be like, hey,
everybody.
replace these guys with us. Better to have
To try to be
fools
better than
a-holes.
everybody.
Ah, I mean, why? Like, I still...
Would you trust me for 5 minutes?
I'm gonna try. I'm just like... Oh, Lord.
Go ahead, you guys. Go ahead and like fill your drinks with whatever you want,
And then
I looked
Without-
over at Mesnos.
without getting smashed.
I got you. I got you.
Mesnos kind of like there's a small smile, and then it goes back down. He's like,
And then there's a serious look from Bloodscale to Mesnos.
Then he gives you the all right, very well. And
I am
but
going
you notice
to get ice
your
wine.
you notice your glasses haven't come out yet. Only
Saying
theirs have come out because they've skipped and Bloodscale. Some of the resonant memories. You know, it's because they've skipped this part of the meal that they've been automatically taken on to the next one. You see at this point, the queen finishes a second slice, and a quarter of the apple is gone. At this point, you hear a small bell. All of you, like what you're eating, starts as you kind of you see everybody else put down all of their silverware and everything onto the plates. What you're
I
eating?
get the feeling that our food's about to disappear.
Yep.
And then
What you're
just-
eating?
I'm gonna jam a handful into a pocket.
Perfect.
Shit's
Make a
good.
sleight of hand
It's
check.
tasty. Sure. Thank you.
Yeah. I know you
I'm
want
hoping my
to.
plus 13 finally pays off. Yeah,
Meat steal.
that's
All
not
right.
bad. Give me that meat.
Nobody seems to notice. except for you see the hooded figure, as you do, kind of gives you a nod. And the Squall Knight also gives you a nod. They seem to be the only people who've noticed and are making it very obvious to you that they did notice.
That was my plan the whole time.
For the rest of you, I thought so. The food sinks into your plate, and then another course pops up where you can choose something else for your second round of food. You see everybody else quickly going through and grabbing theirs. You get the idea at this point that no one wants to be the last one to choose their food. And again, you see the Minotaur. It's
whatever's a light, refreshing side.
Perfect. Light refreshing
I
side.
got
So,
roasted pumpkin seeds if they got them.
perfect. Roasted pumpkin seeds pop up. A lot of you get like kind of like a refreshing salad. That one that had the dill smell before. Oh, it's super good, and it makes it complimentary. It's such a great compliment to the other things that you were eating. And no matter what you chose, it seems to be a great compliment. Now the weirdest thing is
something weird.
Mesnos does get this kind of. Mesnos gets a freaking. It looks very, very strange. Like it's something you've never seen. No, it looks like kind of like this. It's definitely a swarm of something, and it seems to be an acquired taste. But it seems to be like a swarm of something that has been made into a loaf and sliced like bread, and that's what he's eating. And it has definite crunch to it. There's also some sort of tentacle in there somewhere. And then Zephyr, your foie gras is just perfectly done. You see, as you guys are picking, you see again the Minotaur just as he's trying to find something, and finally he's finally, after like it's starting to get awkward, and he knows, but he just didn't give a shit anymore, and he's like and he finally stumbles upon the meat that you were eating before. Uza. And then as it solidifies, she again takes another bite out of the apple.
I'm gonna give him some thumbs up.
At that point, he like bites and he rips half of it off in one bite. And as you give him a thumbs up, he looks over, ready to, and he's glaring. And then as you give him a thumbs up, he's like, and so.
Poor little guy just wants some food.
And
can I wait till after the Minotaur gets his food to pick mine?
Sure. Yeah, if you want to wait, that's perfect. So you wait, and then we'll say you choose like a palate cleansing like sherbet or something that might have. And as you wait, as you see the Minotaur, he chooses, and as you've waited after he chose, and you choose, you see the queen look at you. And just a barest smile. She saw what you did. And as a crew, she doesn't nod or anything else. She just goes back to eating her golden apple. As the rest of you dive into your next meal, the knights, you see a lot of them are waiting with full glasses, except for Lifespring. Lifespring has finished his first glass and has poured himself a second glass.
How?
What's he thinking?
Getting crunk.
Paying attention.
You see when he brings the wine glass to his face, it passes through the dome, and is obfuscated behind it. Like he can, and then he pulls it away.
Oh, dude, it's totally gonna well up at the bottom of the fishbowl and get stuck in
No,
his
he's not
neck.
like pouring it in there. He like passes through. You see a straw stick out of the front.
I'm gonna lean into Zephyr. That means we can punch him through it, right?
Yeah, it might mean that it's an illusion. That they might all have illusions on them to look the way they do.
Bill, when it was...
Illusionary armor. Genius.
No, it felt pretty real when it was on my head. Probably just magic.
Magic armor.
That's him.
Perfect. And then, so you guys continue throughout. Go ahead. I'm so sorry.
No, go for it.
Oh no, go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you all off.
I just look over at what's going on. I'm like, this is him. Oh. So
Stop staring.
I end up looking back at like Oberon and like the queens and kings and stuff, just seeing what they're doing.
So as you look over, Oberon So you see the queen is just slowly taking. You see she's timing out the bites to give everybody enough time to finish their meals, as she knows that everybody is waiting on her. And you see that the apple has been cut into 8 pieces, and that the first course took 2 bites. So it's probably going to be, it could be anywhere between a 6-course, or if she does even throughout the slices, a 4-course meal. You do recognize, as you're looking over, you see her Sam is started talking with the this beautiful elf across from him, and you see as he's kind of laughing, and then she's laughing back. You guys, Gordon, if you look in your Feywild folder, you'll be able to see what she looks like. It's under the handout Venestra. And she has these beautiful gossamer fairy wings and pink hair.
Where's the handout?
In the Feywild folder?
Roll 20.
In roll 20?
I'm in roll 20. Sorry, I'm just looking.
It's near the bottom. It's alphabetic. It's Venestra.
Mine isn't alphabetic.
When you're in the folder, it's alphabetic.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, sorry.
Oh, she's cute.
And
Oh,
yeah,
girl.
she's adorable. She has like this otherworldly kind of charm to her, and like you notice every time that she laughs, you see like the closest 20 tables all kind of look over and like just unwittingly smile as she laughs. You notice that even some of the Sealy champions are looking over and laughing. You see mostly the Minotaur and the Triton looking over, and they're both kind of smiling. And you notice that there's a lot of people who can't help but keep glancing at her as she's, especially when she laughs. And you see her and her Sam seem to be talking about, and like just from their body language, you can tell that they haven't been like they've been away from each other for a long time. But it's very clearly not a romantic relationship. It's definitely, like, oh my God, how have you been? Kind of like slightly body jokes and everything like that. And then every once in a while you'll see her laugh, and Oberon just kind of gives like a dead stare at her Sam, who kind of gives him just this, oh, what are you gonna do? Smile back at him. You see the Queen of Air and Darkness is in a completely different outfit from when you saw her last time. I'll go and show you what she looks like at this table. Should be in your Feywild folder as well.
Wearing armor at the table, huh?
She's wearing. She is eating. But you notice that as opposed to an apple, she is taking every meal, and she takes 3 bites exactly. She takes 3 bites, and she's in full armor. It's a scale mail with like kind of a breastplate, a very shaped breastplate above the top of it. You notice there's this big dark cloak that she wears over everything. Her skin is super pale, and she has a black hair up in a very pragmatic sort of like ponytail that's just a little bit showy. As you know, she probably couldn't help that much, but as she, even on her back, you see there is a longsword strapped to it, and it's kind of hanging loosely behind her as she sits in her chair. Instead of her full crown, she wears half a crown, like where it's basically just sticking up through her hair, and it's like a circlet underneath it, so you can barely see the crown that she wears as she sits at this table. Very different and much colder and much less welcoming than the other versions of her that you've seen. And you notice, you watch, and every bite she takes is at the exact moment that Tatiana takes a bite. Although she never looks at Tatiana at all. So at that point, you hear another small bell as your food descends once more into the plate. And at this point, everybody's kind of falling into the ritual of it. Is there anything in particular you guys would be looking for as this is going?
Vomitarium?
What's that? What did you just say?
Said a vomitarium.
Vomitarium. No
Make room
vomitarium.
for more.
Because weirdly enough, no matter how much you've eaten, you're always pleasantly full, but ready for just one more bite. Like you have the munchies and you've ran out of snacks. Like you're full, but like, oh man, another bite would be so good.
Oh shit.
This is a fucking nightmare.
He knows how to relate to his audience.
Oh man.
Oh no, this turned bad. Viser's in a bad mood now.
Oh no, it's not a bad. It's not like not the. But then there's always something else to bite into, so it's always delicious, and you're never out of food, so you don't get to the point where you're frustrated. It's just like one of those, oh, that was so good, but I don't know. Well, I guess I have room for what. Oh my god, that looks good. And then at that point, you see the leprechaun. He kind of gestures, and you hear just faintly in the background this kind of lively music kind of kick up. And there's like a kind of people start at different tables, kind of like smiling and nodding, and you can tell he's trying to raise the mood, and eventually you also kind of feel just a little more at home. It's feels a little less alien than it was before. You see the centaur, who hasn't sat down. He seems to be standing. You just hear a clock, 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 clock as he starts tapping his foot with the music.
Cute.
Oh, he's counting.
Like that one horse.
I'm gonna say that out loud. But like it's to the table, but kind of loud enough for someone to hear.
Ironically, you get a glare from the Minotaur, not the centaur. He thinks you're talking about him.
Oh shit! I thought I was talking about the Minotaur. That's my bad. I take it back. I take it back.
Oh, okay.
I thought it was a Minotaur clopping. Never mind.
Oh, well, the Minotaur... Oh, good God, Tata, dude. What up, dude? $7. Thank you so much. That's incredible. I hope you're enjoying the the story. Hype, hype, hype. Oh, my God. I'm going to have to throw one of these things.
Kind of works for this moment anyway.
All right. Well, you can still insult the Minotaur if that's what you're going for.
No, it's fine. If he's not the one clopping, I misheard.
Oh no, no worries.
I just want to be a dick to him.
Okay. But yeah, and so you notice everybody starts to relax a little bit, and then this time around, you notice that it's smaller portions, and these are much richer foods. Like is the ones that start out. You can still go to other foods, but like we're getting into kind of like smaller, almost more gourmet stuff as you're going. Caviar, bam.
Anything wrong?
It's caviar
How
with
long
these
are we
super
supposed to
buttery
eat
crackers, and it is a royal feast, man. It's a they're the ones who invented course meals.
Like, tell him I hate it. I already ate plenty. I just crave and it
And so you guys go through the next few courses of the meal, and you notice she's down to her last 2 slices, as now wine glasses are these beautiful crystal glasses are brought to all of you and set down in front of you. And they're set down in front of everywhere. And can I get a perception check from everybody? Since I think I know what you guys are going to try to look at. Oh, dude, ramen. Hell yeah.
Ah! I didn't mean to click that twice. It froze on me.
That's all good.
The first one.
Oh yeah, 30, baby.
Hot damn.
Really, stop rolling.
Yeah, I'm not using Beyond 20 anymore. It's garbage. Above an 11 today.
Oh man, yeah. Go
I'm
roll.
perceptive.
Oh, that sucks. Okay, so, Uza, Tazir, Mesnos, you all recognize that Lifespring is super drunk and barely keeping it together.
I'm gonna nudge. I'm gonna
the rest
kick
of you.
Blood-scale. I don't know if I can do that far. I'm gonna be like.
Oh yeah, easily. He's a big dude. You're long. You got legs.
I'm live.
Yep.
Blood-scale was busy watching everybody at his own table. Like, are we fucking up? Are we fucking up? Shit.
And
fuck. Shit.
Blood-scale, you have caught occasional things like somebody like you notice like the spoons and like forks and everything have been in a very specific order, and you're like, you see somebody reach for the outside one, you're like, inside first, and you show them to eat outwards as the meals come, and so, but you managed to dodge several faux pas. You're kind of focusing on this with your this innate knowledge set. And it seems really weird. Like you're not sure if it's the influence of the Fey Dragon, the leftover that has taught you Sylvan from the memories and everything, but now you have the finest manners, and the rest of you are kind of weirded out at Bloodscale. This entire meal has been perfect. He has been taking small bites. He has been every time he reaches for a glass or something, it's delicate. He picks it up, and you even notice you catch him every once in a while. Pinky out, but he's not ashamed of it. He's just doing everything exactly properly. He's pointing out, little things here, and then he's like, and he'll point. There's like small, tiny toothpicks to get things out of your teeth, but only try
Honestly,
to
if
lance
anything,
it
you're
once.
seeing blood scale in like this slightly panicked state.
Oh yeah,
Like the entire time, he's just like that.
I can't help but picture the Skeksis when they eat, you know,
Yes.
and they have the little like finger utensils.
Exactly that. But so it's at that point you feel a kick.
And he hasn't frozen a single thing that he's eaten.
No, actually, you see
And
this-
he's green right now.
yeah.
He's gonna have a tummy ache later.
And so you feel this tap on your foot of a talon as you see Uza kind of sitting a little slouched in his seat, clearly tapping you with like giant wide eyes.
He's drunk. Fishball's drunk.
And as you look over and he points it out, you see the bottle is empty, and you see there's while you were enjoying your meal and everything, there's another bottle that is almost all the way done as well. As he's pulling out a third bottle, and as he pulls out the third bottle, he kind of leans forward and he does that, leans just a little too far and then pulls it back. And then instead of like the delicate one before, he just slaps the top of it and the top breaks off like he sabered it. It's this nice, clean, weird cut, but he's just like whack! Like he's done it a million times throughout his life.
I look over at Mesdos, I'm like, dude, we can drink better than he.
Blood scale is going to say very quietly, "Fucking wine family. Do you actually believe that?"
Oh, pff. I don't know.
If you
between
want
me-
to, you can make an
I just
insight
about it.
check with that.
Yeah, why not?
I think it's
all
just
try
Yeah.
it.
Who are you talking? Everybody or just?
Everybody who
I was-
noticed.
oh.
So roll
I like the
fire.
on 20.
All right. Can't stop thinking about ramen either. It's okay, dude. And then so, as you guys make your insight checks, let's go. You're starting to
Too
doubt
panicked,
yourself.
too panicked.
You're starting to doubt yourself. You're like, fuck it, I don't care anymore. And the Uza, you do, like, as you see him, you see he rocks over, and then you're like, as you look over it, and you're like, wait a minute, that's super calculated. And then with a 25, you notice he's drinking all the glasses in a single gulp in a shrouded helmet. And you're like, this motherfucker is sleight of handing it away somewhere in the side of that helmet. He's putting on an
Oh,
act.
he is fishbowling it. He's fucking fishbowling it. I look over at Zephyr and go, I'm sorry, you were right, he is fishbowling it.
I told you! I told you! Ah.
Blood scale's just gone back to neurotic panic.
Well, and now I'm fumbling with my glass, trying to figure out how to get, like, I'm dreaming of the best wine that ever existed, and I'm, like, doing what they're doing to try and get it
So-
to fill in my cup.
So the first time you turn it over, you place it on the table in front of you. As you place it down, you see a small glow at the bottom of your glass, and then you think, super, super good wine. And then you flip it back over. Were you thinking of a red or a white wine?
Oh, red.
This beautiful red ruby wine fills your glass. And you notice, looking at it, it looks almost exactly like the bottles that he brought.
Oh, I'll give it a go. I
It
tip my
is...
glass
To who?
to Mezzy.
Mezzy, you see he's done the exact same thing. He has the exact same thing, and he nods and cheers you from across the table. And as you taste it,
Blood scale is water.
Blood scale, pure water. No worries. Blood scale has water and panic.
They complement each other well.
And then so as you take a sip of it, it is the most delicious wine that you've ever drank. It has this nice fullness of the berry with almost a slight wood back to it, but it's a really delightful wood, almost like a hickory that really fills out the bottom of the flavor that prevents any bitterness from reaching your taste buds. And it's this beautiful. Well, you wanted a Merlot, correct?
Yep.
That's what I'm describing. Okay, and then you have the beautiful berry on the front, and just that hint of sweetness that never doesn't overstay itself. And then as you bring the wine down, it's this weird, indescribable sensation as the aftertaste of it tastes. You don't know how to explain it, but it tastes like sunshine and like almost like happiness is right like in your throat and coming up, and then it like kind of overwhelms you with this moment of everything's gonna be all right. Life is really good.
Oh, I'm enjoying the hell out of it.
Oh god, it's
Take it with me.
And you see, as you kind of take your first sip and you're looking at your wine glass, you notice Mesnos is doing the same thing. He's just looking at it, and he kind of looks up and he makes eye contact with you, like, and he kind of like points to his glass, like, "You believe this?" Like,
I kind of lift my flask, like, you know, like maybe we should put some away.
blood
Never
scale.
know. Okay. All right, I'll just enjoy it for the night then.
Perfect.
Yeah, don't enjoy it too much though. Remember, that guy's faking a drink. He's faking that he's had two, and he's like sloshed. So it's probably real powerful stuff.
And as he says this, I need you to make a Constitution saving throw. Let's go. Can you make one for Mesnos? And these are at disadvantage.
Well, at least the second one rolled all right. Doesn't matter. Oh.
Oh no.
We both did awful.
And you see,
Giant bag of assholes.
both of them,
Drinking the whole thing.
Are you surprised?
both tieflings with just a sip of this Elgin wine. You see both of them struggling to stay conscious. It is
Jesus.
absurd. It's like they drank 5 bottles. It's like they did shots. It's like they did shots for an hour. Like, and these are two people you have seen heftily go through it, and this is a single sip of this wine. With that,
you should probably drink water, Zephyr. It's supposed to be a battle of wits and riddles and stuff. So
Yeah, eat some bread or something. Think about bread.
Maybe I could put like a potion of constitution or something in this.
just
think about
drink water.
think about your glass having a potion of constitution in it. Maybe that'll work.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna try.
Yeah.
Constitution.
okay, so you concentrate on a Constitution potion.
Yep.
Okay, but you have to
Constitution and
turn.
wisdom.
You have to turn the glass over, and it is currently full.
Oh no.
Alright, so at this point I
Pour
look
it in
over
your lap.
Uza. I'm like, Uza, my flask. Help me. Be sneaky about it.
Oh god damn it. See, this is an important role. I'm gonna fuck it up.
Okay,
Can I-
So,
Help
Can
me
I pass her
sneakily
my
empty
glass?
it so I can not.
Bloodscale.
This is
Bloodscale, can I pass her my glass without getting in trouble?
Probably not.
Alright. Never mind then.
And you
Right, so-
prestidigitate fucking wine away.
Ooh.
Yeah, absolutely. Hold on.
Oh, Mesnos.
so, okay, so, you prestidigitated the wine away for Mesnos?
Oh, thank.
Okay, so,
Good.
so with that, do you still want to sleight of hand?
If Visera can do it like that, I'm gonna let him do it.
So I'm gonna make it look like the wine is still there as well in both their glasses and press it.
No, because they have to flip it over. Literally flip it over.
Oh, okay. Then it's just gonna be
So-
gone. Well, no. I'm gonna make an illusion that it's there and be like, all right, now you can
Yeah.
drink the rest
Well,
before you turn over your glass.
the only problem is you can only do. They're sat too far away from each other. You need to like your mind illusion's in a 5-foot cube, and you can only do one at a time.
Well, just do one and have.
You see,
Zephyr
as
slide
I
say,
first,
if it's a-
and then-
if
That's why I was saying
cube is-
you do Mesnos because that sleight of hand was pretty good, bro.
Yeah.
All right, so
yeah, I'm gonna go. I was already going. I already clicked it, so I'll
Okay,
commit that
gotcha.
roll.
So-
We'll say you went for it.
So, you as you prestidigitate the wine glass for Mesnos. Does Mesnos have minor illusion? I believe.
He does.
So he's going to help you with this, and he's going to. You see, as it goes away, as he sees
That
you
was a luck
look at
point,
him.
by the way.
Perfect. You nod as you nod to him. He kind of reaches over for the glass and covers it with his hand, and then he gives you like a small nod back. And then as he takes his hand away, there is some wine back in his glass as the illusion of it. You know you cleared it clean for him as he pretends to take another sip, and he masterfully forms the illusion so it looks like he's drinking from it, and it's taking it down. And then the sleight of hand, the best one you got was a 25. Okay, so. That was what you needed.
Oh my god, I used that luck point.
So, with that, not only are you able
to Feywild on your.
Yeah.
So as you kind of
that's
like
even better.
gesture to Uza, like you've got to try this. He reaches over and Uza, as you grab it, you also, while you're grabbing the wine glass with one hand, your other hand has snaked the flask out of her pocket. And then as you kind of look at it, you swirl it around, and then as you bring it up, you kind of you bring your other hand surreptitiously to your chest, and as you're tipping the glass, super quick, you dump it into the flask and then pull it up to your lips and get just 2 drops on your lips as you fill the flask, and then you seal it up, and then you hand it over to her. And I need a Constitution saving throw.
Oh no!
Oh my god!
You needed a 30, not in order to get no drops in your mouth.
I'm telling Mesnos, tea or coffee, tea or coffee, tea or coffee.
Mesnos just kind of nods.
Can he guidance? Can we do anything?
Oh, he
help
could have been
him?
guidancing this
another
whole
luck
time,
point.
but he forgot.
No, I thought it would be too obvious.
Okay, that's fair. It does have a
didn't
lot
wanna
of
do
somatic components, so.
spells. Yeah.
You also see.
I have a thing that can help. What is it called? Where is
Well, like I said, I'm flipping my glass already
Bountiful
and
luck.
like seeing about Constitution
Tides of
and
Chaos.
Yeah, you can Tides of Chaos this.
Oh no, that's an advantage. The other one,
It's advantage on saving throws,
Bend
though,
luck.
right?
Bend
Bend
luck.
luck, okay.
So add a 1d4 to that
Oh, perfect.
user.
So, Uza, D4. Okay, so 16.
16.
Uza,
Worth it.
Uza's also very poorly off at this point.
Oh no!
I
I
flipped
already
my
planning on.
cup over.
I need
Coffee.
I need everybody who's come in contact with the wine to make a performance check to see how well you're passing it off.
That should have been. There should have been 13 from this.
Perfect. Okay, so you've all done this dance before. It's not a difficult one, and as though you are wasted, you think you're pulling it off pretty well.
Alcoholics are good at this shit.
Zephyr is definitely pulling it off better than anybody else. The rest of you can see the cracks, and it's that more than a few are going to notice, but they look drunk, but they don't look as drunk as they are.
I'm
Alright,
going
so-
to baby shit the shit out of Mesnos.
Alright, do I get the wisdom and constitution boost in my cup? Does it fill when I flip it?
As you turn it over, it's just water.
Oh crap.
Yeah, I get it.
You get the
Sipping
idea
on the
that,
water.
and then as you're tipping it over, you see that one of the servants has appeared next to you, and they're whispering in your ear at this point. I am so sorry, we don't have any of that in our stores, but would water do for now?
That would work perfectly, thank you.
Beautiful, thank you so much. And then you're thinking of the Vernder coffee. As you turn yours over, it fills with a dark liquid, also with a slight touch. You see the milk stir itself in, and you give it a smell, and it already has the amount of sugar that you love inside the Vernder coffee.
4 scoops. That's how much. 4.
So just my everyday coffee. No. And so, Zephyr, as you drink this is the clearest, most delicious water you've ever tasted in your entire life, and you are suddenly stone sober.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Uza, you are drinking this coffee, and now you are hyper and drunk.
Mesnos was probably getting whatever he would have had
The
night
last thing you
after
told him
a bender in
was
hell.
water or tea. So he turns it over, and you just see a tea bag form on the side of his glass, and you see he's this perfectly steeped tea with a little lemon that appears at the base, and he squeezes the lemon into it. And
But I want it to be from hell.
All right, let's see. From hell. Okay, all right. So as you see,
I'm sure they have very fancy teas in hell.
oh yeah, no, it's just where the tea comes from. So as you see, as he turns over his glass, you see what looks like to be like a roly-poly that's balled up and full of holes, leaking into this this clear boiling water. And you see, as it's boiling, you just hear the slightest as it boils all the way through, and Mesnos pulls up the string that the roly-poly thing has been holding onto and crushes it, and then sprinkles the bits into the into the cup as he swirls it.
Any of the other competitors looking at him weird?
You see, pretty much all of the Seelie Knights have been staring almost dead straight forward, trying not to look at anybody. The Unseelie, I mean. The Seelie, you see at that point, the half-elf wizard kind of like looking over at your table, and then he just gives it one of the like.
The fuck?
But you can tell it's not what the fuck. It's how interesting, as opposed to what the fuck. Like, oh, fascinating. You see the Triton just kind of glance over and just shrugs like it's no big fucking deal. Those are the two who'd noticed that because of the crushing and screaming sound of it. And then as he drinks it, you see he suddenly like cracks his neck, and he is sober.
Yes.
And
Just have a drunk hyper 8-year-old. Let's go.
I look over to Uza. I'm like, Uza, try some water, okay?
What?
Try the water. It's really good.
What?
Really good.
Blender coffee. Guys, we should have another flying race. Guys, we should.
Who's that?
I make
I'm
him
like,
I
tell
pass
him
the
with the
glass over and I tell him to drink it.
No, don't do that. Oh no.
Drink it.
You can't give someone your glass. You can't give someone your glass.
You can.
He already did.
Yeah,
He already did. Or
I just
Yeah.
asked if that was a
gonna
thing.
think we're
and then-
really.
And Bloodscale said he didn't know, and it probably shouldn't be done.
Well, I pass it to him anyway because a hyper Uza who's drunk is not good. So I'm like, drink it.
Yeah. No, in a second. We should have another flying race. Like the Pegasus, the Pegasus.
Uza, you're not gonna beat any Pegasus if you're drunk now. Have some water.
I'm gonna look around and I'm gonna just. Is anybody staring at me?
I'm staring at you.
Not really.
Besides Zephyr?
Only Zephyr.
Like,
Everybody else seems to
nope.
be enjoying themselves.
Oh, Bloodscale is like shooting daggers right now.
Vice there too.
Feels like acid reflux. There's some green energy in there. I'm gonna drink this water.
Or you take a sip, just the tiniest sip, and all of a sudden, stone sober, and still a little hyper because of the coffee. It's
I'm gonna
really
go
good
back to the coffee then.
Right, so you
Hyper's fine.
Does it
You-
does
Just
it
hyper
taste
is fine.
exactly like that in Vernder, or is it like just a hair different?
It's exact to your memory. Like, it is the
Ugh.
same exact thing that you had in Vernder.
Okay, I've got one more thing, and I'll probably shut up for the rest of this meal. Is there another food plate waiting for us to? You said there was another.
There is one
course, or
more.
Are we on drink?
There's one more. After you all finish your drinks, a dessert appears in front of you. There seems to be, as same as the other ones, a few different options. And you guys can kind of sort through those. You notice that at this point, it's the last slice of the golden apple that the Tatianas were getting ready to eat. And she's
gonna
holding
try
her
and
hand,
think
kindly
about-
waiting.
All right. I'm gonna try and think about these certain high altitude, cold-grown raspberries that I've only ever heard of in the Great Eyrie. See if those show up.
And as you're concentrating on it, this small stem starts to grow from the top of your plate, and as it grows, you see the berries themselves grow in this large cluster. And as you watch them grow, you see frost overtake them, and just this slight as you smell out mountain air as the vine snaps and retreats back into the plate, leaving the berries perfectly crisp and perfectly cold.
I'm gonna take a bite at like half of one.
As you bite into it, it is everything they said it would be. It is sweet, delicious. The berries fill your mouth, and for some reason, the seeds are smaller than a normal berry, and so you can barely notice them as you chew through it. The coldness of it has turned it almost to this like ice cream lollipop sort of feel, but it's chewy enough that it doesn't hurt or hurt your beak or give you brain freeze. It's just this perfect temperature, and it is delicious. It's one of the most delicious things you've ever had in your entire life.
I'm gonna spit that out into my napkin and fold it up and put it in my lap. And I'm not gonna have any more because this really starting to freak me out.
Okay.
I don't know if I like this anymore.
Okay. All right. You spit it out, fold it in.
Who's just getting paranoid?
And as you fold it in and make that decision, you see the rest of the berries slink slowly into the plate, and you are finally full. A perfectly comfortable full. Blood scale. As you're sitting there, you're trying to think of what to eat and everything, and then all of a sudden, out of your plate, it raises this cooked beetle. And you recognize it, and for some reason in the back of your head, you're like, oh, it's a fire beetle. They taste like cinnamon when cooked properly. And you remember that it's delicious, and you remember that it's a fire beetle, and this one has been prepared exactly to standards where you have to boil it in lava. You have to dip it in lava, and then as you pull it out, you have to drop that lava-covered beetle into a pot of like room temperature water, so that way the crust forms around it, and then it perfectly cooks it inside and out. And then you crack, as you're kind of just going through these motions, you kind of grab it and crack it open, and this warm smell of like this cinnamony deliciousness kind of flows into your nostrils as you kind of timidly at first, and you get like a fork, perfect manners, and you just stab a bit of the meat and you pull it almost out like crab meat. And it looks very similar too. It's got these beautiful like kind of white seafood meat, and as you bite into it, like these memories almost come rushing back. This was one of your most common reward desserts when you won in the arena when you were fighting for that fucking gnome.
Fuck.
And then
Finish this beetle real quick.
as far as Zephyr, you have let's see, savory, like sweet savory or like savory.
Up to you. I'm gonna let the DM flavor this, but it looks
Perfect.
disgusting.
It needs to look disgusting. Okay, perfect. So as you're looking down at your plate and you're kind of thinking, you see over near Mesnos, it's just this small what's it called? It's like a custard cup. Or like, and it's you see that he has a creme brulee kind of in front of him, and you see as he kind of he smiles and he kind of waves his hand over it, and you see this small flame like under his palm kind of burn it perfectly, and as he does, you hear just this small shit, and then it's gone. And then he kind of takes his spoon, turns it over, and just cracks it open. And anybody close, as he cracks it open, it smells like a wonderful like vanilla creme brulee with just a weird like after smell of blood. Like it's a blood pudding cream like not souffle.
I'm gonna say I'm excited because Chiron
brulee.
used to give me those treats.
Perfect. And as you kind of look over, yours has risen out of the table just from you watching him eat it, and it's over it. And as you crack it, just some of the very few memories from when you were a child that you actually enjoyed. This is one of the things your father used to get you. As it's just this, he never told you the recipe, so it's something alive and brulee, and it's delicious. But now it's not alive anymore. But it was. And as you kind of bite into it, you get this this almost like nostalgic kick, and almost a clear memory of sitting around a table and your father kind of smiling as he watches you eat it for the first time. It's disconcerting.
Disconcerting, but I'm also really pleased that I'm trying to file away to Vezi that I need to ask him for the recipe.
Perfect. And then are the rest of you eating dessert, or have you stopped eating as well? If I say
I
anything.
heard a whisper.
I'll have
stopped
some
eating.
dessert. Why not?
Okay. So, you said you've stopped eating, Taz?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. And then, Vicer, actually, one of the thing that comes up from you is this ice cream that it came around once a year that was able to be made with the proper harvest at your home village way back before all of this began. It's the only time that the village got chocolate, and they were able to make a chocolate, and then they would mix in just a touch of cinnamon, and they were able to add this wonderful peanut butter, which wouldn't stay good for long, but they mixed it with this. What's that? Sorry, what'd you say,
What?
TJ?
I didn't say anything.
Oh, okay. And so it's this wonderful ice cream mixture together with it's a little bit of chocolate, a little bit of peanut butter, and then there's just a salted caramel running through it as well. And you haven't had this in maybe 5 years. How do I describe food so much in this game?
I don't know, it's because I keep encouraging it, and I'm like, ooh, describe the wine, describe the food! You make me hungry!
Hey,
You're
thank
talking
you, Tab,
about
for the
food that
host.
doesn't exist for an hour. I'm going insane.
I'm so it's part of the thing. I didn't plan it. They encouraged me.
I did. Sorry.
Oh, Ted, you're dropping frames? That sucks. Well, thank you so much for the host.
Don't have to apologize.
So, I'm sorry, man. So at this point, you see as everybody's finished up, you see Vicer, the queen, just very briefly locks eyes with you. As you can see, she's doing the same thing you did before. She's actively waiting for everybody to finish their dessert before she finishes. And then she looks past you and beyond. As you guys, you see everybody else starting to finish and everything like that. You guys, and then you see, oh, come on, not edit. Sorry, a second. All right, perfect. And then so as the meal finishes up, you see everybody is kind of enjoying the conversation. It's almost like a celebration. Like, this is definitely not something that happens every day. As you see, there are people here in every dress, every clothing set. There's some super fancy. There's some that are clearly dudded up, but they're not as fancy as other people. And you see every walk of life. Bloodscale, you see actually one of the servants you recognize as the father of Oedra Lifespring. And he's smiling and he's kind of nodding to people. You see a lot of people are giving him compliments on the wine, as everybody's enjoyed it a lot. And at that point, you see everybody starts to kind of everybody starts to kind of clean up, and they're finishing and everything. And then all of a sudden, the queen kind of looks around, and then she whispers over to Oberon as he nods. And then you see as she nods.
Just for a second, Mike's comp was forced to restart. He'll be back in a moment.
Oh, damn! I did not see that. Thank you so much for the forced restart.
You just texted.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much for that.
Mention.
So I'll go ahead and let me think if there's anything else you guys... Oh, so throughout this whole meal, every person that you saw on the way in, unicorns included, has filled this entire room. The unicorns, unicorns, Pegasuses? Pegasi. They've all come in, and you see that this room is somehow larger than it was when you first entered. It is expanded to the room to 4 or 5 times its already immense size to make room for all of these people. You see some of the servants are actually spectral, but kind of glimmering. Some of the servants are tiny fairies that are clearly using magic and just holding it aloft while they make conversation with people. Every aspect of the Feywild seems to be represented here, as everybody is kind of talking and joking with each other. And so at this point, you see the the main Pegasus. Did I go over the names with you guys? I think I did last time, but I just want to make sure.
I don't
Yeah, but
remember.
we could probably use it again.
Perfect. Okay,
Yeah.
so you do hear a lot of people refer to the leprechaun, and you hear them referred to as a leprechaun as Squaliac. I'm not kidding. That's his real name, Squaliac. So he's now visible in your handouts, so I should be able to see him. That is Squaliac. Irish names are the weirdest. And then
he's cute.
the Ent is known as Amantiensin. And you can now see him.
It's what?
Montizian.
Amantiensin.
One more time?
It's Amantiensin.
Okay.
Sien?
Got it.
You guys
Untitled
hear me?
Chapter.
Oh, that's... Hey, welcome back.
Gotcha.
God, dude, I've never. Brandon, I might ask you to take a look at this thing. I'm getting like forced restarts every hour and a half into having this thing run.
Oh, weird. I need a new Mobo.
Oh yeah, supply it does.
And then the unicorn you've heard servants asking it for things is known as Ichthythern. Ichthythern? I'm trying not to make it. It's basically it's spelled each Thyhern. So, but I'm thinking it's Ichthythern. So I'll go and show that to you so you can try to pronounce it for yourself. And you at home, try to pronounce it with me. Ichthythern. Screw it. And so you're kind of getting this more complete, at least cast of characters as they are served different things. And you notice that the Ent, weirdly enough, most of its meals, instead of it has had a giant goblet in front of him, and the goblet is emanating light from it as it seems to be sipping from this sipping sunlight, like this pure liquid gold sunlight, instead of having a meal. So, and then it's at this point that the Queen Tatiana stands up, and as she stands up, everything stops. Everybody kind of looks over to her, and she gives a small bow, and she's like, "Thank you all for being here. I'm excited to see how these games turn out. It seems that we have an unexpected change, but as you know, change can be the source of much joy, as I'm sure this will be. The games start tomorrow. I wish to, until then, enjoy your rest." She kind of gives a nod, and then as she nods, you see everybody kind of all stand up at the same time as your chairs, and as soon as you stand up, the chairs, the tables, everything in the room starts to slide back into the floor as it starts to take over the look that it had before, as the statues being the last point that they trot in, and they rear up and freeze into place.
I'm waiting for a cue from here, Sam, to summon the.
And so
in.
As you're all are waiting, is she, and this is transforming, she's like, "Tomorrow, the first event will be the hunt. I think this year will provide a very interesting insight into those who can and cannot find it within themselves to bring what we need and what we wish to see. Until we announce tomorrow, I wish you all good night." And as she kind of nods, this kind of feeling of banality and calmness kind of goes over it. Nobody's talking or laughing anymore, and everybody starts to kind of file out as there's like a few murmurs and everything like that, but they're like, you just hear the hunt. Yeah, the hunt's my favorite part. Or like what does she mean by that? I mean, it's a hunt. What do you? Is it test of strength? Is it test of will? And like all these just sort of whispers and everything as people are headed outside. With that, the table being gone, you see the ant form of Amantienshin starts to float away over to the left-hand side of the throne. Why these names? Ichthythern, the Pegasus, gives a deep bow to the queen and then flutters away and catches up with clearly 5 Pegasi who are waiting, all a different color. And as the Pegasus flies, it seems like with every flap of its wings, you see color ripple through its coat and wings. Squaliac also gives a bow before heading down the stairs, and Squaliac's the only one who walks in between everybody where the tables were. And as he's walking through, he kind of waits for he gets up to you, Vicer, and he kind of waits for you to move, and he kind of looks up, and gives you a kind of dismissory gesture.
Pardon me. Move out of his way.
And he just, like, of course, fools bring fools. And he keeps going.
I mean, that's an angry small man. I mean,
the Queen of Air and Darkness, you notice that at this point she's still sitting, and her chair has not gone, because that would be rude. And that it's only at that point that she does stand up and move her way to the knights. And as she walks to the knights, they all stand up as well, all clearly waiting for this cue from her. As they all stand up and they move and they head off towards the right hand side of things. You see, my brain just farted on me. I'm sorry. Venestra, she moves over to the Sealy Knights, and as she goes over, she smiles to them, and they all kind of clearly are smiling back, enraptured by her as she escorts them over, following where Squaliac went, which is my favorite name of all of them. I don't know if that's appeared. And then you see her Sam walks up to to Queen Titania and Oberon, the council, and you see there's a small discussion between them. You see no real emotion change from Titania, but they seems to be, and then all of a sudden the two Oberon and her Sam turn away, and as they turn away, you see her Sam kind of giving a sideways smile as he looks over to Oberon, and you see Oberon, just for the first time that you guys seen, a small smile as he nods to his son, and then they break off as her Sam comes to you guys, and he heads left with the rest of the Sealy. It's at that point that the Queen, now standing, she gives a small nod to you that remain. And then as she does, you see this wind sweep around her as she kind of leans back into it, and she floats up. And as the windows open, she flies out onto the promenade and sits looking into this golden sun that doesn't hurt your eyes, even though it seems to be like just on the horizon, just beyond here. And you see she's just quietly basking in the sun as her Sam comes and stops in front of all of you. All right, you did very well. You made it through dinner, and I think actually have managed to gain a tiny bit of favor throughout all of it. Very well done with the manners. Who taught you to eat like that, Bloodscale? And he winks at you.
I already know it was a dragon. Let's just move on.
Excellent. And then Vicer, very good, recognizing that the Queen would reward someone who would act out of kindness where fear was the most the most present in their mind. Very smartly done.
I didn't know we were supposed to be afraid, honestly. I thought we were just having food.
Well, she assumes that she's so used to being feared when she does not wish to be, that acts of kindness in her presence that go into in the face of order, she tends to enjoy every once in a while. She wasn't kidding when she said change is one of her favorite things. Now, tomorrow, we win the hunt. We have that in the bag. We know exactly what they're looking for. We have it ready and in our grasp.
And my fingers are fisted, so nobody can steal shit from me.
Who's still watching us?
Let me take a look. Oh my god, my character sheet also crashed. Hold on, I'm sorry.
All good, all good. What?
It did not restore all pages.
It never
1 and
does.
2. Oh, thank God for advantage.
All right. So looking
I realized
around,
I was distracted.
you do notice that Squaliac, there's something weird. He's like shimmered between, like he's like half invisible, but he seems to be casually leaning at this doorway to the left.
Just the green gnome thing. Guy.
Is he a narc?
1 second, I have to roll.
Does he look
something
like a
real
narc?
quick. I mean,
I'm actually asking her, Sam, if it's a narc.
Oh,
I
her
think
Sam
it-
is like,
a knack.
1 second. Okay. So her Sam is like, oh, yes. Squaliac hates me and I hate him. He's a small, terrible little person.
Narc.
Right, but is he a
And
narc?
let's not talk about.
He will do anything to see me humiliated. He believes that being the court jester, that my title is only because of who I am and not because...
You're breaking up super bad, dude. I don't know if that's for anybody
that's
else.
okay. He believes that my title is just because of who I am and not because of my personality or who I know to be fools or my understanding of fools, for we have very different ideas of what a fool is. And he believes because he is the court jester that he deserves the title of Prince of Fools, and he does not.
Can we
Because
talk
his-
away from him?
Oh, of course, he knows exactly all of this. Don't you, Squaliac! And you see
Waving.
Elson, as you wave to him, he turns fully invisible, and he's like,
So wave.
and he's like, oh, so you found me? Of course you did. Of course.
I meant
What do
our
I-
stuff, not your stuff with him.
Oh, of course, yes. Oh, what's the matter? You're afraid that you'll give away something that's, what are you going to give away?
We're not listening to you. We don't care what you have to say. Go away.
Truly foolish
Actually,
not to
bye.
listen.
Actually, Bloodscale, with just like acid dripping from his mouth now, is just staring intently at this little fucking green guy.
And as you
My friend
you-
here's a little short on patience.
Oh, that's fine.
know
I'm
he
a
ain't,
little
but he
short on
might be.
everything. And he looks back, and you see his jaw kind of like elongates as he starts drooling acid right back at you. He's like, yeah.
Alright, he can shapeshift.
Bloodscale's gonna switch elements.
He does as well. He matches you step for step as you're switching elements. And he's like, although good to know you can do that. So, I guess it was worth my time.
An illusion?
Thanks. Thanks for letting us know you do that too, you fucking...
Well, luckily, I only went to ice, which is the obvious one.
And he laughs as he heads out the door.
Was that, hey Ty, was what he was doing, was that real or an illusion?
Make a perception check.
I could do that.
Real.
23. Oh. Interesting.
Seems to actually be able to do
Wonder
that.
if, I don't know what a leprechaun is. I wonder if green gnomes also have dragons in their head. Do gnomes have chromatic?
Can we just go somewhere private now? Thank you.
Yes, follow me. And he takes you also to the left path as you're heading down these halls. These are beautiful. Like it's this smooth, clean, white marble with gold weaving through it, but the gold seems to emanate its own light and shine upon you. You even see like details of the veins of gold that run through it, kind of in relief on people's faces. That the shine is such luster. It doesn't hurt your eyes though. It creates this nice, almost fused light that comes from every aspect of these carved hallways with these luscious carpets. And the carpets all seem to be, like right now, they seem to be this interwoven grass it's like this beautiful green that rolls along the floor with vines, real vines weaving through them. And then as he kind of takes you to this there's this wing of this mansion, as he walks in, it's a gigantic room. Inside of it, there is a small stage and a giant like swimming area that there's like a fountain in the middle that's constantly spraying and making all of these beautiful patterns. The outsides of this room, it goes from this marble, and this is where you're kind of recognizing from the other tree. It goes into like a deep redwood, and you notice that the details and stuff in this room remind you of the tree that Hersam used for his headquarters. So you see it's definitely from the same kind of wood, decorating these walls and ready. And as you walk in, you see doors form themselves just like they did when you were walking in that tree. It should be as secure as anything, and he kind of wraps the door as the door seals completely shut and disappears, and now it's just a smooth wall. And for all you guys drinking, I have a whiskey old fashioned right there with you.
Nice.
body hates whiskey. Knows it does not forgive. It does not forget.
Oh, and I remember to thank Zuza for the sleight of hand there. Now I have probably the best wine in the world in my flask.
I can get you a bottle if you like.
Oh my god, you can?
I can. Just be very, very careful with it.
Well, I only took a sip, so that thing will
Tad,
last me
thanks for the
for
subscribe.
years.
It should last you quite the while. Just make sure you're always ready to get to that place. The water won't always be available.
Yeah.
Styrofoam.
But Zephyr, what flask are you talking about, Zephyr?
Thank you, Todd.
I reached into my pocket for my flask.
And it's not there.
Uza,
Huh.
come on. Come on.
What?
I at least want the flask back, okay?
No, it everything disappeared. It took it with it.
I think
promise I'll do part of it
insight
too.
check.
Do an insight check and do a
Yeah.
deception check.
I'm gonna use my
he's
last
definitely
luck.
lying.
Ah, damn it!
He's definitely lying. Oh shit, Todd! Thank you so
I
much.
call bullshit.
Hold on, I gotta give a shout out to Tatatood, who just subscribed to the tier 1 and then got a gift subscription to You've Been Bad for 20. Thank you guys so much. That is freaking awesome.
Also, Molly's
that's
redeemed
awesome,
party.
man.
Molly, oh yeah, I'll get to party in just a second, because we do have to wrap up here as I got work at 4:30 in the morning. But okay, so yeah, he's definitely lying.
I expect that back, Uza. You're a shit liar.
Uza, come on. What did we say about trying to rip off your friends?
I'm not trying to.
You're trying.
Not trying to.
Don't have enough to worry about right now.
No, here.
I'll share. That's not a problem.
I don't want. No,
That's my
it's
flask.
fine. Yeah.
Uza, you can't be mad at her. You tried to steal her flask, man. Come on.
I'm not. I didn't.
What were you trying to do? Was it a surprise? I like surprises.
I think she drinks too much.
Oh, well, that's
Or an intervention.
I believe that a discussion for a time soon. As
I wasn't gonna bring it up. You guys pressured me. Peer pressure. This is on you guys. You peer pressured an 8-year-old. Y'all should feel guilty.
Alright, Uza, no, that's not how any of this works, but alright. Sorry, go ahead.
Same.
We have more important shit to do.
Absolutely.
Yeah, let's focus on that.
All right. So, as you all know, the games start tomorrow. Now, you'll have to have some of your most dastardly riddles. So I would share any good ones you have with each other now and choose one to go forward. You seemed pretty excited about it, Zephyr, so I think maybe you would be a good choice for this one. The wizard duel is next. I believe I say you are the most magical.
I'm quite magical, yeah, but
Very well.
I mean,
I would-
what does a wizard duel look like? Like, what does that
Well-
even mean?
Judging between what we saw tonight, there was no one not in armor on the knight's side. So I believe one of them will be, at the very least, a war mage, at the very most, some sort of cleric with full plate.
I
so-
mean the duel itself. What's expected?
Oh, the duel itself. Well, usually, we've kind of screwed the games up as far as their usual process. These are games built for 2 people. So, oh man, gotta give Papa a snuggle too. I will get to that in just 1 second, I promise. So, normally these games are set for 2 people. So a wizard's duel is just magic until one falls. So really, we have to use this third advantage for making them expend their resources on each other. Usually the magic duel goes with spell, counterspell, judgment to counterspell or not. There's usually some sort of way to deflect or absorb magic. And then so you have to watch for these things. Do not be the one to expend your largest spells first. Everybody thinks they can open up with everything, and that's when everybody counterattacks. And with the riddle contest, normally you stand around a tree. There's a beautiful white tree and a pond around it. When you cannot answer, you sink into the pond. If you answer correctly, you stay where you're at. Last person with their head above water wins the riddle contest. With the test of strength, I assume any points over at blood scale? Just if I had to guess.
Depends what we're doing.
So, normally, they might change anything that I know of. There is something to be broken, and a magical object in which to do it. You must wrench the object from the other, and destroy whatever it is you're supposed to destroy.
Am I allowed to get super angry?
Oh, yes, I recommend you do.
Do it, Bloodscale.
And, last is the hunt.
I'm allowed to maim my opponents.
No, actually. You cannot leave anything but a bruise. Bludgeoning only.
His
Bludgeoning
claws that were
and
extended
wrestling.
retract.
And then last, the hunt. Your two sneakiest and tracker. And he kind of nods towards Uza and Tazir. This one is going to be especially difficult, for there are 2 other teams of 2 who will be wandering around, and you must all try to ambush. Not be the one ambushed, while also being the one to attack last. Up came in. And then you must not try to be the one to attack last. That is your best chance of surviving. The last event is the maze, where you are all...
Did you just say surviving? Hold on, is this a... could we die here?
Oh, no. The Pegasus would not allow it. She's overseeing the entire games and make sure that no one leaves with permanent injury. They are supposed to be... That is what they call friendly, is when you cannot die or be permanently injured from it.
Alright, great. Just want to make sure. A lot of weird rules going on, so...
Last, the day of melee is you are all released into a maze. The team to come out first wins. You must bring all of your people through, no matter if they fall or not.
Can we just fly over the maze?
Is it Popo? No. There's no flying, of course. That would be ridiculous.
What about, like, flying in it? Can you still fly in it?
You cannot. No. It is restricted to an 8-foot ceiling.
Maze is bullshit.
It is. This is Arthur.
Hi, Arthur.
And then,
Arthur, look at the camera, buddy.
I will take the last contest. It is a storytelling contest, and I have a score to settle with Squaliac. Piece of shit.
He looks like Scooby or Scrappy Doo.
He does. And then there will also be a dance, so try to prepare yourself for that. All of you will be participating and trying to make your way.
Do we have to
through the
dance?
doors.
Is this like mandatory?
Yes, you have to dance. Out of the ball. It is
The only
not
other option
necessarily...
to leave our friends behind.
Exactly. You do not want to leave your friends behind. Because if they don't dance, and you don't dance, you get the idea.
Then there is no court of yours.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Alright, so that is what you can expect. And, with that, we're going to go ahead and end there. We'll pick up tomorrow with the first contest being the hunt. And, yeah.
Tomorrow?
Not tomorrow. Next Tuesday.
Should we mark a long rest, I'm guessing?
Yes, go ahead and mark a long rest. Go ahead and make a long rest. And you guys made it through the first test. You guys gained mad favor at that, which is good because I will be tracking your favor for this. So, good news there. And then
Cool.
a party was requested.
Scroll.
So, and then tomorrow, if you guys want to see more D&D with me, I will be on Featherfall Tabletop. So it's twitch.tv/FeatherfallTT. I will be playing a Fire Ganassi fighter who is an Echo Knight. We'll be starting a Wild Mount campaign. So if you watched any Critical Role, it's set in that world. Thank you, Molly, for the links. And then I'll be playing a lot of D&D. On Thursday, I'll be with Friends Who Roll Dice, twitch.tv/Friends Who Roll Dice. I will be playing a Zvrfneblin Artificer, who is...
What's a Zvrfneblin?
Oh, sorry, Deep Gnome, a little gnome guy who has... he's an adventure with agoraphobia, and that's kind of a good explanation of who he is, so should be fun as well. And then... yeah, I'm gonna be. So those will be some places to catch me. There's also the stream is brought to you by DMEmporium.com. It's my little hey, people should play D&D website. Here's some stuff to do it with. It's got dice, drinking horns, shirts, all sorts of crazy stuff. Yeah, do I play enough D&D? I don't know. So with that, we'll go ahead and combine the Pubbo party and the regular parties. So we'll go ahead and time a bit of.
All right! Woo! You have a good time, buddy? No? You panicking? You have a kiss? Have a kiss? Oh, come on, buddy. You never do this. I'm being shut out. I'm being frozen out. No! Alright, here we go. Mina, come here. Come here, buddy. So this is the other dog. Come on, buddy. Come on, Mina. Come on. Come on. Alright, so this is Mina. She's my big, black, beautiful girl. I don't know if you guys can see her. Come here, buddy. Come here. Wow. And she loves scritches too, don't you, buddy? She's a good girl, yeah. So those are the dogs. We're hanging out, and thank you guys for watching. If you guys enjoyed the show and want to see some like real dice rolling, some fun stuff, next time we're gonna be going through these games. We're gonna have a wonderful time. I can't wait to see you there. Let's see who there is to raid. All right, so if you have any suggestions for a raid, go and drop them in the chat. For now, I'm gonna be looking for somebody who, you know, needs a little boost. Alright, so let's take a look. Anybody? I don't see. Oh, you know what? We'll raid friends who roll dice. They are still rolling. It's a wonderful time. So let's get this going. Just put hitch and a ride if you're coming along for the raid, and I will see you there. Thank you again for the subs, the donation, everything. It was crazy awesome of you, and I can't wait to see you next week. Or sooner. You know, if we end up doing it sooner. So in that case, this raid is on. So raid/raid. And it's friends who roll dice. My computer's moving really slow. Yeah. One moment. Okay, Spirit, I'm panicking. There we go. Alright. Here we go. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Thank you once again. We'll see you guys next week. Woo!
Do we start?
You son of a bitch.
I don't think I got it in. Alright.
Hey, I can hear again.
What up?
Welcome back.
Oh no, I didn't leave. Apparently now whenever Ty does his party thing, it just wants to distort it entirely, so I can't understand a word.
Oh, that's just part of it. Yeah,
It's
I gotta
pretty
figure out how to
close.
do it without it.
I mean,
so.
that,
The problem is that we don't know.
It's pretty
if
close.
everyone wanted us to take this one,
All
or
right.
wanted us to take this one.
What the
My
hell?
concern is that they're not going to be able to keep up. My concern is that they're not going to be able to keep up.
Oh, it's the game.
Good.
Yeah.
Do we need to get another?
Alright, so I'll go ahead and stop the broadcast.